Just remind everybody, September 22nd, right in, we will have interviews of applicants for the ARB. Okay. Community development, John?
We had a meeting tonight on the grants for community beautification. There was 4 of them, and I think unanimously we approved them, and you'll see more of them, or see the actual details of that, I think, at the next meeting.
Okay, very fine. Marilee, finance, anything new?
No.
Okay, thank you. Public services, Amy?
Nothing new, thank you.
Okay. John, with DAC, Arts Council?
I think you made the decision tonight on what direction to go, and I think it's a great idea, and I want to thank you.
Okay, all right. Board of Education, Greg?
We have a meeting Thursday afternoon, right? I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, more to come. Morpsey, Marilee?
Yes, I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention that CODA had their annual luncheon last week. And following the luncheon, the Charlotte, North Carolina Chamber CEO was the keynote speaker. And the issue was a comprehensive transportation system that they have actually implemented in Charlotte area. And he came to a roundtable afterwards at Morpsey that I was attended. And there were some significant differences in Charlotte than we have here in Franklin County. They are, Mecklenburg is their county, and it really is 95% Charlotte. Okay, so you have 3 or 4 other, what we might refer to as suburban communities, and I'm not sure they even would define them that big as we would here. So they were able to make decisions because of the large geographic component that they were responsible for. But they have light rail, and it is so successful that they are expanding it now, many more miles, and they are going to have to figure out how to fund that because they had a 0.5%, 0.5%, was it sales tax or? Yeah, sales tax. That was added to pay for the original one. But at any rate, I think that what he presented, I thought was very progressive, and I only wish that Franklin County, we could put together some kind of a planning process that would include such progressive thinking about what do we need holistically in our communities. And I think it begged the question more of something that's near and dear, I know, to Amy's heart, is do we really need Dublin itself, because this is such a long-term situation and plan and money, and now that the federal government's probably not going to be giving states any more transportation money, it's going to be much more difficult to do big, transportation projects through a state system of or county. Do we want an internal, light rail is probably not the right word, but, transit plan that we should look at over the next 10 to 20 years implementing? I think it has a lot of merit to it.
Yes, and what you'll see in our proposed operating budget is to do a transit study next year. I've asked the development department to take a look at that and focus in on Dublin's specific transit study, but obviously that needs to tie to the bigger county concept. So you'll see that in our operating budget.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tim, Northwest 33 Innovation Corridor?
We had a meeting on Friday, August 14th, and nothing major to announce.
Okay, very well. Okay, Council Roundtable. Greg? Amy?
I just have something I wanted to bring to Council's attention, and maybe I should have done this in the P&Z portion of my ability to make comments.
Well,
but
it's too late then.
In looking at this Home 2 hotel and in looking at the signage in the Home 2 hotel, and as we go forward, Planning Commission is going to be considering Bridge Street corridor signage guidelines. And the Home 2 hotel had, I think, 5 signs, maybe more, all around their campus, if you will. And those are the number of signs that they proposed are what is permitted in the Bridge Street Code. and I believe it's the size and the number. Deviani, give me a nod, yeah. So if we're concerned about that, we need to be thinking about, what is reasonable, what do we want to regulate, how do we want to balance our desire for the contemporary and the new and the cool and the hip and with signage versus our more traditional signage values that we've always held. I don't want to start, seeing a proliferation of lots of signs in here, our community say, what are you guys thinking? So that's just a balancing act, and the materials that were presented, those are all permitted materials in the Bridge Street corridor.
Would it make
and
sense?
the colors, too.
Would it make sense for the Planning and Zoning Commission as part of a workshop project to look over the code and put together a little input and?
Well, we are looking at the
report?
signage holistically. We're looking at the Bridge Street District signage guidelines, and so that's going to come up next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Okay.
So we are talking about it,
Okay.
but I just wanted to plant that seed with you all that, we need to be cognizant of it as we go forward and pay attention to what we're doing so we don't get down the road and realize that we made a mistake, or, maybe we like what we're seeing and we can go forward that way too.
Okay, sounds good. Mary Lee?
Well, just to follow up on that, is the district east of Riverside Drive, what is that district called then? Because that has different signage.
I think it used to have different signage because it was the Corridor Development District.
Yeah.
Like Dublin Village Center, that area had a different.
Well, I don't mean the old, I mean the new, because the new people, like that Bosch nail place, and when we were questioned about that, that was permissible under the new codes and
Right.
colors that we did for that area.
Right, that's Bridge Street District signage.
Okay, well, we already have it in place, and we're using it.
We're looking further at, do you remember, gosh, we were at the Golf Club of Dublin, and there were all sorts of signs presented to us.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
think
but they
Planning
were
Commission was-
unrealistic. I mean,
Well,
fishes and frogs and all that, that wasn't,
That's what we're looking at.
well, I mean,
Or
nobody's
those
done
types of-
anything like that. So,
No, but with Bridge Park, I think that it's envisioned that type of signage package will come forward. So, like I said, just wanted to plant the seed. We had the example in front of us tonight, and that was, what I was thinking as I was looking at the number is, wow, this is what we've got.
Sounds like more to come. Mary Lee, anything else? Okay. Tim?
Well, I guess I'm going to follow up so I make sure I understand. So Planning and Zoning is going to be considering this, and then they're going to make a recommendation to City Council? Is that your understanding of the process?
I believe so. The packet that we have says Bridge Street District signage guidelines. Maybe Daviani
I
could.
think why don't we just make that an expectation? Okay, kind of like to see it.
Sorry, I'm somewhat familiar with this project, but these are our Bridge Street District zoning code has core requirements. What is proposed are the guidelines. What we have been seeing is the contractors bringing us same old signage, which meets the code, but it's not really creative. So the guidelines talk about being more creative, but meet the code. So guidelines are not the law, it's the policy guidelines. That's what the project is.
And is it your understanding that this will go to Planning Commission and then council will review it as well?
Yes, that's
Okay.
my,
Perfect. Is that?
That's what
is
I
that
thought.
true? I think so. Yeah.
Sounds like council wants to see it, so.
That's what it
we
sounds like
will
to me. So
provide
Yeah.
for that review.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear, so.
It's reviewed by
We're going to see
ARB.
it,
Right.
okay?
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all, thank you.
Okay. John?
On that note, I presume that most of the signage issues are going to be hashed out in P&Z. You guys are going to, what the code is, and you know how to apply it. So I don't see this to be a major problem. Thank you.
Okay, that's all? Okay. Okay. Well, the only thing I have is, Friday, Dana and I traveled to Washington DC at the Pentagon, and we were joining Cardinal Health that received the Secretary of the Department of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award, involving there's all the activities and support they have shown for Guard and reservist. And it's a very, very high honor, and frankly, I was very proud to be there and to participate in that. And as our country relies more and more on civilian military personnel, I'll call them that, as opposed to regular active duty. It's very good to see our corporate citizens step up and support those men and women in uniform.
It was out of 2,900 companies across the country, 15 were selected, and Cardinal Health was one.
Yeah, it was absolutely an amazing ceremony, and hats off to Cardinal Health, and I thank them personally for all they're doing for our men and women in uniform. With that, declare we're adjourned.